Okay everybody, well, welcome to the channel. So as you have seen in the thumbnail, we're talking knives today, right? Now when it comes to the topic of knives, there are so many posts online. There are groups, there are debates, what you should get, what you shouldn't get, you know, what steel type and all that kind of stuff. Now, at the end of the day, you decide what you get, right? You look at your budget, you look at what you find pleasing to look at and to handle, and that's the one you're going to get. Now, that said, there are a couple of things you can consider when doing that. And I don't care what brand of knife you get. I'm just going to run through the knives that I have and kind of explain why I have them and what I do with them, right? Okay. So let's start with what I call Apple knives, and it's obviously not the brand Apple, but it's a little tiny everyday carry foldable knife that you would have in your pocket, just, you know, to cut a piece of rope, to slice up an apple, something like that, right? This little buck knife here is extremely sharp, but of course it's very fragile. So you wouldn't be using this, you know, for heavy work, for batoning or anything like that. Just for the fine detail stuff, right? A lot of people have this one. I think it's the 110, but I'll put the details on the screen. Not too expensive. I think, I don't recall, but I think it's something like maybe 40 bucks or so. And then you have similar ones like this one. This one has multiple blades, and the only reason I picked this up is because I saw it in a window in a store when I was visiting a museum, and I thought it looked cool. So that's why I got it. That's the only reason, right? But they got the similar purpose here. Okay. Then you have, of course, the, let's call it a Boy Scout knife, right? Now this again is a souvenir that I picked up somewhere. Little screwdriver, corkscrew, that kind of thing. Always handy to have on your person, maybe back up in your car, something like that. And yeah, there's not a lot I can say about it. It's just, it is what it is, yeah? All right, brings me to the next one, which is kind of in the same category, but then again, it's way higher up there. And check out this cool little sheath that I made. Okay, and that's this one. First of all, it's a Victorinox, and this is the Ranger series, and it's kind of similar to this guy, but it has way more body to it. The quality is much higher, and you can actually use this as a decent utility knife. You could use this to cut small branches, that kind of stuff, right? You have other things on here like screwdrivers that you could actually use as a screwdriver, openers, that kind of thing. So this is basically, I would say, this guy on steroids, right? I use this one all the time. It's suitable for basically anything, and I carry it on my hip as well as an EDC. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it, right? And they're super solid. They're not cheap though. Don't know exactly, but I think in a range of around, I don't know, maybe 90 bucks, 100 bucks or so. That said, I'm currently in Europe, and in Europe this kind of stuff is way more expensive, so maybe it's a different price where you live, right? Anyway, that's the Victorinox. All right. Okay, moving on. And I'm just doing this in random order, so we'll see what happens, right? Okay, one of these guys. Now, I picked this thing up once upon a time. It's heavily used, as you can see, and it's basically a striker, right? Now, I used to have stuff like this. I don't really use this one anymore because I've learned many ways to make fires. But this again is a cheap thing. I think I picked it up at Walmart or something. And yeah, you're not too worried about it if it gets damaged or even if it breaks. So yeah, one of those things, right? Just throw it in your pack, and it's there if you need it, right? Back up for a fire maybe. Okay. Right, what else? Okay, the super famous Opinel series, French knife, and yeah, this is a very thin blade. It's also extremely sharp. It can be used for a lot of things. It can be used for cleaning fish. It can be used for small tasks around your campsite and whatnot. What you definitely don't want to use this for is for heavy labor, right? I wouldn't say the quality is flimsy, because it isn't, but it's not heavy duty either, right? Fairly cheap knife, but as far as use, you can use it for a lot of things, right? And yeah, one of those things, you could carry this as an EDC. I personally don't, because there are a lot of sharp edges on here, and I don't want to, you know, have to buy new jeans every week. This is actually the number 9, and depending on the number of the Opinel, you have different sizes, right? Very, very popular knife. A lot of people have this, and yeah, potentially a good knife, I would say, for a kid to start off with, right? If they know basic knife safety skills, of course, right? Okay. All right, what else? Then we have the category, these are these guys, right? And I'm just, you know, without trying to disrespect anyone, I'm just going to call it cheapo, right? I bought these in a discount bin because it was so cheap. I thought, well, hey, you know, why not? If you look at this, I wouldn't even call it a knife, to be honest. I mean, it's supposed to look like, I don't know, some kind of Rambo style deal or whatever. It has this paracord wrap on it. I literally never use it. I bought it, I threw it in the closet here, and it's sharp, it's awkward, it's, I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is, right? I'll probably give it away at some point for somebody who likes it, but other than that, everybody has a category of knives where they think, well, why did I buy it? Well, there you go. That's one of them, right? This is another one, M-Tech USA. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad knife, but again, this is a knife that I bought, and I don't believe I ever used it. Again, it has serrated edges on it, and it has all that kind of stuff. It's quite heavy, actually. Yeah, again, I don't know why I bought it. It's that category, you know, put it somewhere and don't look at it again, I guess, for me anyway, right? Okay, get that out of the way. There we go. Moving on. So, of course, we have the buck knife. Now, this thing is a beast. It is super, super strong. Everybody knows this thing. I don't know the number, just at the top of my head, but a lot of people have this. It is an awesome knife. A lot of people have trouble closing this knife, actually. This little spring in here, if you push this to the left, you can push the blade back. Very, very sharp, very strong knife. I would say overall use, right? Carried on your hip, you can use it for all sorts of stuff. Okay, moving on. All right, what else have we got? Let's see, yeah, we got another buck knife here. Now, this is basically the big brother of this little guy, right? It's almost, well, it's actually the exact same design, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is for the same purpose, but heavy duty, right? A very solid knife, nice and heavy, strong, very sharp. And again, this is a knife where people seem to have trouble, you know, how to open it. And you got the spring right here, right? So if you open it like this and it's locked and you want to close it again, you push on this button right here, push on it, and then close it like that. All right. And this is actually, this sheath is custom made. I think, actually no, this is an original buck sheath, and I think it came with it. It's pretty neat. All right. Okay, moving on. Let's see, I'm not going to talk about that. That's empty, that's empty. All right. Then we got this thing. Now, this is going a little bit towards the tactical side of things, I would say. Not a knife that I use a lot. It's a full tang knife, so it's going all the way through, as you can see here, right? Makes it stronger. It's this looks to be like a solid cast handle. yeah, it's a good knife. It's nothing special, I would say. Again, this is something I picked up, I think, at Bass Pro Shop. Maybe it was 40 bucks or so. This is by SOG. It's called a field knife. Again, I would say utility knife. You can use it for all sorts of things, cutting rope or whatnot. Again, I wouldn't use it for batoning. That's a good way to destroy a knife. But for small camp work, it's fine. Okay. So cool thing, there's a little opening right here with the blade exposed. So if you want to run through a piece of paracord, you can cut it like that. Pretty neat, right? Okay. Alrighty, and of course I'm saving my coolest knives for the end, just because they're cool, right? So here we have, and I'll just take another one because I got two that are quite similar. These are two Mora knives. Now, Mora is a great knife when it comes to camping and whatnot, outdoor stuff, and this is the regular one. This is the carbon steel one. If you don't know about carbon steel is quite hard, and as a result, when you make it sharp, it stays sharp quite long, right? It has edge retention. The problem, though, is it also makes it more brittle, so there's always a balance you need to look for, right? Now, this is a regular Mora, and yeah, this is the carbon one. Very, very sharp, extremely popular knives in the outdoor community, and fairly affordable, right? I think they already have Mora knives starting at something like 15 bucks, right? So these are cool. Okay, get them out of the way. So what's next? Let's go with this one first. This is a knife that I restored. It was completely trashed. It was rusted. It was dented. The handle looked like crap. And yeah, this is a custom sheath made for it. Here it is. And this is your typical hunting knife. Now, this is a Solingen knife, Solingen in Germany, and I had one of these knives when I was a kid, lost it, found this one at a, I think kind of a flea market type deal, but again, it was in super, super rough shape, right? I managed to get it cleaned up somewhat, and yeah, it's just something I enjoy holding and looking at. I don't really use it a lot. Hunting is basically not allowed here, like a lot of things are not allowed here, but that's a discussion for another day. Anyway, I love this knife. It's pretty old school, and that's why I have it, right? Okay. All right, moving on. So what have we got next? I talked about batoning a lot, right? Let's look at this beast. Now, if you're going to do batoning with a knife, then think about something like this. This is the Becker BK2, and this is a massive, massive, super, super heavy knife, right? You could baton complete logs with this thing. It is a super, super clunky, super heavy, full tang knife. Whenever I am in camp and I don't want to bring a hatchet, I'll bring this guy, right? And again, it's the Becker, yeah, Becker BK2. Okay. Alrighty, now let's move that out of the way. And I think, yeah, I had this custom made as well. It doesn't come with this, but yeah, I just like leather, right? Okay, then we go to these guys. And these are, again, very, very popular, the K-bar knives. Now, the K-bar knives became famous as a fighting knife in, I think it was World War II. I assume it's World War II. And this is supposed to be the US Marine Corps version, as it says right here, right, with the logo on it. And this is supposed to be the Special Forces. Whether it's true or not, I don't really care. I just like the way they look. Great quality. Leather sheets come with it. Let's look at the knife itself. So these are full tang, as you can see here at the end right there, right? Have a serrated edge at this section. Very strong, very sharp. Its intention is a fighting knife, I believe. I literally never use these because I don't want to mess them up, right? You could, I think it would be overkill to walk around with a knife like this. I think in most places you probably wouldn't even be allowed, I guess. Certainly not here in Europe. Anyway, you're allowed to have them here, you're just not allowed to walk around with them. So I bought these just because I like them. So there's that. Okay, here's the other one. US Marine Corps, same series basically, looks very similar, serrated edge, very sharp, full tang, and yeah, looks absolutely awesome. Alrighty. Okay, we're getting into the custom made knives now, almost, I think. Let's see, yeah. I have 3 of those so far. This one is a Finnish, so not finished, Finnish as in from Finland, a puukko knife, right? And this is a very traditional knife that's been handmade. And I actually bought this one fairly recently, and it's extremely sharp. You can read up on puukko knives if you want. The sheath is also custom made. Just a nice decoration piece. I might take it on camp now and then. Probably not the one I would pick first, but it's just a really cool thing, okay? Right, then finally I have these 2. And these are both handmade knives that I bought in the Navajo Nation, right? These are beautiful, and these are, yeah, I don't really know what to say about them. They are so specific that I can't give you any real details on it other than they're just beautiful, right? And yeah, sometimes you buy something just because you like looking at it, right? So yeah, there's that. And I assume this is a hunting knife. That's what it looks like anyway. Beautiful, beautiful craftsmanship, I think. So, very cool. Right, and then finally, we got this guy. And I'm personally not that crazy about the sheath with all this stuff. Cool thing is, you can actually take that off, I believe. Let's see if that's true. No, it's not. Well, you can open it up and use it for your belt and all that, but you can clearly see that I never use this. But the knife itself is, again, it's beautiful. I think so, right? It's a handcrafted knife, great detail, and yeah, I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, so that's basically my consideration. So you can see that as far as utility knives are concerned, there are really just a few knives that I use a lot. So that also tells you that once you get into knives, you are buying a lot of them that you really don't need, I would say. So just to give you a summary of the ones that I actually use quite a lot, that would be this little guy, that would be my 2 Mora knives, the Becker BK2 as an alternative for a hatchet, right? Then of course my Ranger knife, right? And then I switched that one out with my buck knife. So these are basically the ones I use. There's one more, if I can quickly find it, and that is the other buck knife, but then the bigger one, right? So where did I put that thing? Okay, right here. So these are basically all the knives that I use, okay? So this buck knife, foldable, the tiny one, foldable, the Victorinox Ranger, foldable. Then I got the fixed blade Mora, I got the buck knife, foldable, and I got the Becker BK2, okay? Okay, well that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one.